I'm Josh Light with PoliticIt.com here in Rhode Island with Barry Hinckley, U.S. Candidate for U.S. Senate for Republican Party. How are you doing today, Barry?
I'm doing great. Good to be here, Josh.
Thanks for meeting with us. So tell us the big differences between you and the competitor in this race.
Well, the great thing about this election here in Rhode Island this fall is that the Rhode Island voters will have a very clear choice. On the left, you have a government man, Sheldon Whitehouse, and Rhode Island is in very, very tough shape right now with amongst the worst unemployment numbers in the country, devastating population decline, people leaving because there's no jobs here. In fact, it's often said our #1 export is our children because there aren't enough jobs for us to keep them here. And so if you believe more government is the way out of the mess we're in, you've got a guy. His name's Sheldon Whitehouse. His 30-year career in politics has been all about more taxes, more regulation, and more government. Now, on the other side of the coin, you have Barry Hinckley, career businessman. And if you believe more private sector job growth is the way out of the mess we're in, well, that's the life I've led as a man that's created hundreds of jobs and signed over 15,000 paychecks. So a very, very clear choice between a government man and a businessman.
Tell us about your experience and how it's prepared you for the Senate.
Well, I grew up in a manufacturing family, and I witnessed firsthand that the government is not your friend if you manufacture things here in America. In fact, the government would show up in various forms all the time in our family business, whether it was the IRS, whether it was the EPA, whether it was OSHA or the Department of Labor. They never had good news for us. They never showed up and said, "Mr. Hinckley, how can we help you manufacture more boats?" In fact, quite the opposite. So in my own career, I founded a software company after leaving my family business when it fell on tough times, and I built that company up from 0 employees to what is now a 175-person company. That is great experience for Rhode Island right now and America.
When you're talking to people in Rhode Island, what fiscal issues are they concerned about?
Well, the real issues here are jobs, jobs, jobs. I mean, when you live in a state that has the second highest unemployment in the country, when you have, tens of thousands of people looking for work and can't find jobs, the #1 issue here in Rhode Island is jobs. Of course, we also have crushing taxes and over-regulation here in Rhode Island, which leads to a very large state budget as it relates to the number of people that we have here, and that all relates to higher property taxes and fewer jobs. So jobs and certainly debt and deficit is #2.
What social issues are people concerned about here in Rhode Island?
Well, Rhode Island's a 50-50 state, 50% pro-life and 50% pro-choice, and it probably will remain that way for a while. People really aren't as focused on the social issues right now. If you talk about the choice issue, for example, they're really focused on jobs and the economy, and they realize that until we get our state working again, until we can create enough jobs to keep our children in our state, which is our future, we're not going to have the benefit of being able to debate these very, very important social issues if we don't have a fiscally sound country and a fiscally sound state.
Where do you stand on foreign policy?
Well, right now, Rhode Islanders are really concerned, and I am as well, as all the billions of dollars we're sending abroad. We have serious problems here in Rhode Island and here in America. We are running massive federal deficits, and people don't understand why we're sending billions of dollars to countries that actually don't even line up with our values. So let's keep the money at home, let's bring home the troops, let's end the wars actually, and let's get America out of the business of being the world's police force. We simply can't afford it.
What other issues are you concerned about?
Well, those are the primary issues, jobs, but secondary, of course, as a father, is debt and deficit, and Rhode Islanders follow that. The #1 issue in Rhode Island, as I mentioned, is jobs and the economy. 55% of Rhode Islanders put that as their #1 issue. #2, pretty close behind at 37% of Rhode Islanders, is debt and deficit. The crushing multi-trillion-dollar debt that we're handing our children, it simply isn't fair. Our children didn't spend this money. Why should they have to pay it back? And we really need to get people working again, because as Marco Rubio says, we don't need more taxes. We need more taxpayers. And only with more taxpayers and more people working can we pay back this debt on behalf of our kids.
Now, when we looked at your IT score, we found that you had a very high digital influence. Why is it that people are talking about you online?
Well, I think we represent new faces and a new generation of leadership. I'm 46 years old. My generation is just now stepping up into a leadership role. You see people like Marco Rubio, who's my age, Paul Ryan, Mike Lee, these folks that are in their 40s stepping up. And we do have a new approach. And that new approach, I think, is more inclusive with a broader platform. And we're also pretty media savvy. Keep in mind, I built a software company, so we do understand technology here at the Hinckley for Senate campaign, and leveraging that technology and getting our great message out of inclusion, of private sector job growth to as many media savvy people as possible has been a real paramount focus for my campaign.
How are you using social media in your campaign?
Of course, we use the basics, Twitter, Facebook, things like that, and then you use technologies around that leverage it. Of course, we produce videos on the fly of events around special issues and pump those out to our followers through social media, through email, and through traditional media. So the real-time distribution of current issues and our opinions on them have been very important to us.
How's your campaign going at this point?
We're doing really, really well. Actually, let's face it, this is a walk-on campaign. No one expected us to come out of nowhere here in Rhode Island. But when you come on with a jobs message in a state that needs jobs and you run against a career politician, the man I'm running against, Sheldon Whitehouse, represents the three things that job creators fear the most. His entire 30-year career on our payroll has been about more taxes, more regulation, and more lawsuits. Those are the three things that job creators and businessmen and women fear the most. I am the exact opposite, and Rhode Islanders have responded to this refreshing new approach very, very well. The polls are tightening up, and I think you're going to have a real horse race this fall between Sheldon Whitehouse and Barry Hinckley.
Barry, where can people go to learn more about you?
You can go to hinckleyforsenate.com, and I think you'll find everything you need right there.
Thanks for meeting with us today.
My pleasure, Josh.